The Islamic Revolutionary Guard Corps of Iran issued a serious warning on Thursday. Only the routes declared by Tehran would be considered safe for maritime traffic. Any transit outside these routes, according to the authority, would not be guaranteed safe passage. These alerts came as the first concrete attempts to reopen the Strait of Hormuz were gaining momentum after the preliminary agreement signed between the United States and Iran last week. The conflict, which began on February 28 with a campaign of American and Israeli attacks against Iranian targets, led Iran to mine the central corridor of the strait and severely restrict navigation. Hundreds of ships were trapped. More than 11,000 sailors spent weeks on end unable to leave. The flow of crude oil plummeted. To better understand the complexity, the Strait of Hormuz is divided into two sections. To the north, dominated by the Iranians, and to the south, monitored by Oman. The recently signed Memorandum of Understanding provided for the gradual reopening of the strait, without tolls, for an initial period of 60 days. It also included the creation of an alternative maritime corridor along the coast of Oman, coordinated by the UN's International Maritime Organization and supported by Oman. Tanker ships were already beginning to use this southern route. Just on Wednesday, 78 crossings were recorded, the highest number since the beginning of the conflict. The hope of normalizing energy traffic was growing, but still on Wednesday, the Revolutionary Guard had directly threatened a tanker ship over the radio, saying, "You are within range of my missiles and I might fire." The next day, yesterday, Thursday, came the formal statement rejecting the new route proposed by the UN and Oman. A few hours later, a projectile fired by the Iranian Guard hit the Singaporean cargo ship Ever Lovely directly. The vessel suffered damage to the bridge after the impact on the starboard side. About 14 kilometers southeast of the port of Da'it in Oman, an area of Omani maritime sovereignty that should never be attacked by any nation. There were no injuries or fuel leaks, and the ship was able to continue its navigation to a safe location. The International Maritime Organization immediately suspended the plan to evacuate ships and crew members. The agency's Secretary General, Arsenio Dominguez, explained that the safety of the sailors was the absolute priority and that it would be necessary to obtain clear guarantees before proceeding. The UN did not issue a statement condemning the Iranian attack, which may have come at a high cost. The ship that was hit was not officially part of the UN evacuation operation, but it was following exactly the alternative corridor that was being sought. If you want access to full analyses with exclusive content that isn't made public here, become a channel member for just $7 a month. Meanwhile, in Manama, Bahrain, the U.S. Secretary of State, Marco Rubio, was attending a meeting with the foreign ministers of the Gulf Cooperation Council countries. Rubio went straight to the Strait of Hormuz and international waters. No nation can charge tolls or transit fees. Rubio called the discussion about service fees or tolls a matter of semantics and made it clear that the United States will not accept this in any agreement. "We want an agreement, but not at any price," said Marco Rubio. The American red lines remain. Iran will not have a nuclear weapon, and the strait must remain free for international navigation. The attack on Ever Lovely puts these efforts under new strain. It shows that Iran still has the ability to selectively interfere with traffic even after the preliminary agreement. A drone from the Islamic Revolutionary Guard can hit a specific commercial ship without causing casualties or an environmental disaster, enough to generate fear, increase insurance costs, and make ship owners reconsider their routes. The Strait of Hormuz is the most critical choke point for global energy trade. About a fifth of the world's seaborne oil passes through the region. Any disruption or sustained threat affects prices immediately. The action reinforces the asymmetric pattern that the Iranian Revolutionary Guard has been employing, such as mines, drones, fast boats, and short-range anti-ship missiles. It's not a conventional fleet facing the American Navy, but rather a capability to deny or complicate the use of the strait at a relatively low cost for Tehran and a high cost for global trade. The attack happened right after Iran's public warning and radio threat. It came as the ships were starting to use the alternative route supported by the UN. It came at the exact moment when Rubio was trying to reassure Gulf allies that the agreement with Iran would not compromise their security or allow Iranian control over the Strait of Hormuz. For the United States, the situation creates a new crisis. The preliminary agreement seeks to reduce tensions and restore energy flows. At the same time, any repeated tolerance of attacks against commercial airplanes weakens American credibility in protecting international navigation, a historic commitment of the American Navy. If new incidents occur, the pressure for a firmer response only increases on the United States' shoulders. Whether through more robust armed escorts, actions against platforms and drone launches, or adjustments to the terms of the agreement itself. If you've made it this far and want full access to this analysis, do as our members owe to do. Just become an exclusive channel member for only 7 Rs and 90 our $7.99 per month, and just click here on the Become a Member button. Leave your comment below with your analysis on how this situation might develop and whether the United States will be able to respond to it. Turn on notifications so you don't miss the next videos. Thank you.